Yesterday was the observance of Yom Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem Day. Today, going into Shabbat, is actually the day that it would have been marked, but the observance, such as it is, was moved to yesterday. The fact that we're on this day, the day of the reunification of Yerushalayim, and the day that's become so complex and politicized, also means that we are most of the way in our journey between Pesach and Shavuot. And that means it's been over a month since Pesach took place, since Pesach began. And so I have to ask each of us this morning, I have to ask all members of our people what we're asked in our tefillah and our prayers each and every day. Do you remember Pesach? Do you remember the Exodus? Do you remember going forth from Egypt? I have to admit, checking with my birth certificate, I in fact was not here to physically go forth from Egypt, and nonetheless, it is an essential Jewish moment. It is the basic element of our worldview and our ethos, as twice every day we are challenged to remember the Exodus from Egypt. And we say, particularly on Pesach, I remember when I went forth. Not that we physically went forth, because none of us did that, but rather it is Jewish to engage in perspective taking, that it is a Jewish life skill, an essential element of what it means to be part of the covenant of our people, and to live a life animated by the history and the reality and the values of the people of Israel, to be able to see the other, to see their suffering, to see their successes, to see their humanity. All of these are a basic element of what it means, what it has meant to be a Jew. And no other people has more reason, painfully so, to be aware of the kind of depths that humanity and our world in any part can sink to. No people has a more painful and real lens on that than we, still living less than a century from the Shoah, from the Holocaust, and us understanding what can be carried out when we lose the ability to see another group of people as being human beings like we, and understanding whether they're like us or not like us, whether they're near or far, whether they're our favorite neighbors or ones we wish we were not located next to, that we do not have to agree with their perspective, but we must be able to see it and live with the reality of what that narrative, what that story, what that lived reality is all about. So in that context, I have to say that what happened yesterday in Jerusalem at what's become known as the Flag March on Jerusalem Day, on Yom Yerushalayim, may have taken place and been populated by Jews, but this was not a Jewish event. To open up the paper, to open up the news sources that you may have, that I may have, and to read that Jews marching through the streets of Jerusalem in whatever part were chanting death to Arabs, were chanting your village should burn, were assaulting Arabs, Palestinians that they came upon, who are residents of that place and that city, and assaulting journalists as well. To read that that was what was taking place, we must be willing to say, this is not our tradition. This is not what being a Jew is or represents. Now, it's true that Israel is a very broad society, and these strains of Israeli society, like any other society, have been present for a very long time. And they did not, have not, nor will they cause us to abandon our support of the state of Israel and of its importance in the life of our people, in our future, in the right of the Jewish people to have their own national homeland and state in which we can live out our destiny. And if we hope to do so in a way that meaningfully reflects not just being democratic, but being a Jewish homeland as well, this kind of hatred and prejudice must be rejected. Like I said, it's been present in the past, and yet yesterday, two of Israel's main ministers, most influential ministers, participated, as they have historically, in the flag march. And if anything, not only did they not condemn this kind of behavior in any meaningful kind of a way, but their presence, their behaviors, in fact, encourage such a disaster. And that's very much what this is. Israel is the one and only Jewish state that we will ever have. And clearly, we've reached a point in the evolution of that state where we must all be fully engaged in the interchange, the fight, the whatever you might call it, for the soul, for the Jewish character of the state of Israel and what that must mean. It cannot come to mean a hatred of the other, a rejection of the basic ethos of the Jewish people, that while it of course recognizes the essential meaning and mission of being part of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, at the same time, it also profoundly acknowledges the reality of human beings, of human suffering, and that we must be an agent of undoing human suffering, not inflicting it. I have been working with a number of partners and potential community and Israeli partners on coming up with a way that we can engage, because we cannot remain sitting on the sidelines in this moment. And so in this spirit, in this time, I will share with you in the weeks to come, hopefully new steps that we can take to make a difference, to have influence and impact during this critical time. At the same time, a reminder also that if you are or can participate in the March for Israel on Monday, please do join us and join us in carrying protest signs that our people use on the pro-democracy, pro-Israeli protests that take place on Saturday nights and other times in the state of Israel. And this is really not to make the walk into a protest, but into an announcement of the Israel that we believe in, that we will work for, that we are committed to.